Okay folks, I've had to come in here to do this video because I want to try and sort of like get something off my chest really, because I'm quite sort of, you know, thinking of as I've woke up this morning. I've hardly had any sleep. I want to try and talk about a few things. This title of this video is Ego, Duality and Guns and Consciousness. Let's speak about the ego first of all. Now I'm no sort of perfect person. I know I have an ego, we all have an ego, but people don't understand how the ego is playing into this whole gun situation with the Sandy thing. I don't watch a lot of mainstream news, so I've not watched a lot of it. But what I'm hearing is it's pressed all the buttons of people who are going into this sort of defence mode of, well, I'm not scared, I'm going to fight, I'm going to defend my rights, I am this, if you don't fight you're weak, I'll defend my children, I'm a good mother. You know, all this sort of thing. Oh, that's my phone, sorry. All this kind of rhetoric. But I'll tell you how that is the ego. Because that is saying, I am, I will, I'm strong, and I will fight. Because I'm not weak like the rest of you. You know, I will fight for my Second Amendment or whatever it is. That silly saying, with my cold dead hand, and it plays straight into the hearts. Straight into the heart of the ego, I was going to say. It plays straight, yeah, it is the heart of the ego. It presses people's emotional buttons. And it makes, I think, men particularly feel, you know, I must protect my family. I must protect, I am strong. Mothers, I will defend my children. I will die defending my children. Yes, this is all, in one way, commendable. But it's the weapons you're choosing. What about fighting with consciousness? Because I tell you now, if you can't defend yourself against a government that's bought billions of pounds worth of pointed ammo with your one little gun, it's not going to work. Now, the thing is, when you try and say anything about this, you know I'm going to get shot down in flames, but I'm speaking my truth here and I'm going to carry on speaking it. But what really upsets me is the fact that, I mean, I love my YouTubers, I love my YouTube friends. But what worries me is when folks who have got zillions of subscribers and have really spent a long time building up a following of people that are going to respect what they say, I find that a shame here that they can't see how they're being played at all. Now, from the outside looking in, it's quite clear to me to see that everybody, I've only watched a bit of Alex Jones and a bit of this and a bit of that, but it's quite clear that the Americans are being proper wound up with this one. Sandy's obviously a hoax. The government's been buying all the ammo, there's the FEMA camps, and now they want to take away your guns. Oh, and to make matters worse, the Chinese are telling you to as well. It's going to press all of your Americans' buttons, big time. And it's just going to get you sucked right back into duality. Us against them, us against the government, defending our little sort of thing with our single guns. You can't see, folks, when you're in that operating system, as I did the other video, how ingrained it is with you. Now, I'm not perfect, but I'm not weak, and to stand up and say this does not make me weak. So, the thing is, you know, as I said in the other video about I've been thinking about fox hunting. Now, I'm a believer in going with the flow. I did a fox hunting video the other day because there again I was at the unit and something said go home now, so I did. And I found a load of hounds all running through the village and the hunt was out, and I filmed it. Now I did a hunt video a few months ago now. I didn't put it up because I know the flack I get because everybody here hates fox hunting, but then I thought, well, I'm going to put it up, you know, it's a bit of filming. I was guided to come home and film it, so I did. And you know, fox hunting is in my operating system. I've known loads of people who've ridden with the hunt. They're not all rich, you know, but I've got to look around. I've got to step out of my left brain programming, because a lot of people I know, you know, mates and everything, they're totally up in arms about fox hunting. But I was a defender of it because it's in my operating system. And Americans, I'm going to say it again, guns are in your operating system. You know, it's not good though. It's not good. You can't fight this fight. You know, you can't fight it with guns. It just isn't going to work. And don't say things like, well, look back through history and look how this, because I saw a bit of Alex Jones spouting on about, you know, very subtly, well, you know, in my mind, you know, if the population's not armed, you get dictators, but if the population's armed, you don't get dictators. Well, that's bollocks. Because whilst that may, well, it may be true, I'm sure there are lots of instances that everyone's going to put loads of derogatory comments saying you need to read a history book, and what about this, and here, you know, what about when they, you know, the Holocaust, and all of this, that, and the other. And I know people can quote history far more than me. But that's the old way of going on, surely. Where's it ever got anyone fighting in wars? It's dim, it's dark. We're in the dark part of this whole cosmic cycle, when hopefully it's starting to get better. Then we've really got to start thinking beyond this, you know, and looking to a future. People have been saying World War III, World War III, but what about all the people that pray on this planet to bring light in? And I'm not saying pray to Jesus, or I'm not saying to pray for consciousness. And this is another thing, consciousness. In its essence, consciousness means being conscious of what you're doing. It means looking at where you're at and being conscious, and not reacting from sort of, you know, programming. The left hand sort of, we've always done it like this, so we will, brain. And you need to be conscious of how you're acting here, because, you know, it's not in step with lots and lots of truths. Now, the thing is, you can always find a reason why you can go down the line of supporting something that's basically unevolved. You know, I've had lots of sort of arguments in the past with people about fox hunting, and they'll say it's cruel. You can say, well, foxes are cruel. You can say, well, when there's no more chickens being farmed in you know, chickens, and there's no other cruel chickens, then stop fox hunting. But I've got to look around and see, am I actually totally out of step? I'm not saying I'm a hunt supporter. I was a hunt defender of their right, and I can see it reflected right back at me. With the Americans, they're defending their, I don't know what it is, Second Amendment or whatever, defending their right to defend themselves or whatever it is. But they can't see that they're just programmed right into that operating system. And like I said in the other video, you know, there's 93,000 people killed in a year in America with guns. It's not the answer. The government's winding you up. It's winding you up to stir you into duality. And, you know, people talk about the ego. And how is the ego related to duality? Well, it is, because it can suck you in very, very subtly. I was sucked in when I've defended fox hunting, because I'm defending their right. You know, and all of a sudden it's us against them. It's duality. And it's the same here with duality. When as soon as you start stepping up to the mark and saying, no, I'm going to fight that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you know, you're sort of buying into duality. Now you could say, okay, is my ego operating here to make me come on here and want to do a video? Maybe. Hands up if it is. You know, but anybody that sort of says, you know, just spouts on about saying things like, well, you're weak, or if we're a nation that's not got guns, you know, we are, what's the word? What was the word? Pliable or dumb or subordinate. What about consciousness? You envisage this, people, if every single person on this planet put down their guns and said, I'm not shooting it anymore, then consciousness would evolve. Now, this may be a waffly video, but, you know, the other day I was doing this thing with my friend Andrea, and we were doing like this thing going around everything in her house and doing energy work with it. Basically, she wanted to sort herself, sort of house out. Anyway, we came to a bit under the stairs, and I could feel the energy. I said, there's something under the stairs. It was where her husband kept gun, probably a rifle, but anything that has that energy of it, energy of a gun, it's got a bad energy. It's built just for creating destruction. That's it. That is it. You know, and I just think it's a shame that people who are, oh, no, yeah, no, one more thing as well. Let's look at a bit of, I'm not an expert in Hermetic wisdom. I'm certainly not, but I know this. It's true. A problem cannot be solved from the same level that created it. That is very true. And if you look at the laws that govern esoteric stuff, the plane above something must always be the plane that comes along and sorts out the lower plane. That is a fact. That is a fact. And running around with guns shooting back is fighting a problem on the same level that created it. I don't care what anybody says, it is. You know, you've got to fight this from a higher perspective. And I've got this picture up here, which is Isis and Osiris. I've just pressed a button, and it's because the screen went blank, I think. And you know, the ancient Egyptians, I don't think, were they violent? Did they go around conquering people? I don't know. I don't think they did. I'm no history Egypt buff. I don't think they did. Because I watched this programme about the next people up from them, some tribes up from them. Would have been the Hittites? I'm not sure. And they basically, Egypt just paid them loads of gold, pay them off, protection racket. They were, you know, they had all this technology. They didn't go around building guns. When you say to somebody, you know, that it's weak and that, don't be deceived. It is your ego to say that if you're not going to be prepared to fight, you're weak, and I am prepared to fight, therefore I am better than you. That's your ego. I don't care what anybody says it is. And you know, ego serves a purpose, but you have to step out of this left brain programming that we've all been sucked into. And you've got to look at this from a higher perspective. And it is my sincere hope, and I don't care if everybody on here leaves me loads of negative comments, gives me loads of thumbs down. I don't care. I'm just trying to say that, you know, people that have got loads and loads of subscribers who really have a chance here, really have a chance to say something, to actually enlighten the planet. I hope that you use your power of persuasion to open people up to the possibility that there could be a new way here. Because whilst we all laugh about going to this dimension and that dimension, joke about it, the facts are, this is the first video I've done since the end of the world, and I'm saying, look at this from an above perspective. Look at this from a higher perspective. Going around hanging onto your guns and getting all defensive about your cold, dead white hand or whatever it is playing into ego. I mean, I'll just finish up now because I don't want it to be waffling on too long, but I did watch a little programme on the television, actually. Well, it was on the iPad the other day. It was about the Mayan culture, and about preppers. This chap was on there, so saying I was preparing for the end of the Mayan calendar sort of thing. But he sort of said, you know, what sort of a man would I be if I hadn't defended my children? I've got 3 daughters. It taps into men's male ego. If I'm a proper man, I need to defend my family. Well, actually, how about educating your children to tune into their higher selves, to learn to know where to go, to learn how to be safe, to fight with more clever weapons? Because, you know, the power of the mind, the power of consciousness, and I will just say this, what about the people that brought down apartheid in America? The students, they were beaten up. They went in unarmed, into bars. You know, black people went in and sat there and just ordered a meal, you know, and they were beaten up. They went in. What about Gandhi overthrew the British Raj without guns? What about the people who had the Hiroshima bomb dropped on them and they survived? Because they've been praying to female cosmic energy. And we need balance here. So, you know, I'm just saying this because, well, because I just am really, because I just need to get on with the rest of the day. And, you know, I'm not weak. Because I don't believe in getting a gun and arming myself, because I just don't think 2 wrongs make a right. If I get shot, I get shot. If I'm a terrible mother, you know, if someone came in here, I would defend Jade. I would throw myself in front of her, you know, but I'm not going to go out and buy a gun, because I tell you what, you'll shoot your ammo and they'll have more. And it's not the way to go. 2 wrongs don't make a right. And I think that's all I've got to say on the issue. But anyway, there you go, folks. Thanks then. Bye.